We are live. What's going on, Fresh Baked? So, what we're going to be talking about today is what's happening presently with theme park attendance and also, well, there's no attendance. We're talking about things like movie theaters or other entertainments. So we're going to try to spend 30 minutes, let's say the first half hour, talking about what's happening in the parks with respect to attendance. And then the second half hour, talking about films, talking about the studios, not just, Disney, but really studios in general, films in general. What's up, guys? Let me see here. Anything I got to catch up on? Sarah DeBose says, yes, stoked for the new live schedule. Yeah, so far so good, right? Well, Sammy Lance says waiting for them to announce bankruptcy. That's not. It takes a little more than a few months for a company to file bankruptcy. I mean, I am surprised that more companies haven't filed for bankruptcy. But what have we heard so far? Places like California Pizza Kitchen just filed, Chuck E. Cheese, and Sioux Plantation. Well, they didn't file for bankruptcy; they just closed. But those things that have in common are that they are. Well, some of that is that they're sort of community establishments, less so California Pizza Kitchen, I guess. But anyway, I digress. I don't know if you could. Have you guys been watching how things have been going at Walt Disney World, Magic Kingdom, Animal Kingdom, all the parks? Because what? Yeah, I know. Good thing I'm over pizza, right? Have you been watching the crowds? Now, all the images that I see coming out of Walt Disney World are of just the absolute emptiness of Main Street, the hub, and in front of the castle, Cinderella Castle. I'm hearing that things are a little bit more populated in these specific lands, Frontierland and Adventureland, that kind of thing. But I mean, yeah, I've watched Adam's stuff, and he's just it seems like it would be nice to go to a park and not run into just wall to wall people, shoulder to shoulder, 80,000 people, and it seems like that would be nice. But I don't know if I would enjoy vlogging under those conditions, other than it being like a kind of interesting one-off. Hey, look at this. This is weird. Can I get back to normal, please? But having said that, it is rather shocking. Well, maybe it shouldn't be, but it's been really surprising to see how few people are going, given that there basically are no restrictions at Disney World other than you have to wear a mask and the social distancing. But I'm talking about attendance-wise. Things are pretty much open in Florida, and still people aren't going. Now, some people are arguing that if they were to lift the mask restriction, that attendance would skyrocket. I guess, they would go up. It would probably go. It would go up for sure, but I don't know if that's the reason. I think the reason, and I mentioned this in another video. It's much like Galaxy's Edge. When Galaxy's Edge opened, all the messaging that we were getting prior to Galaxy's Edge opening was don't come here, stay away. We're going to be too busy. Wait for a little bit and then come in. But if you do come in, expect for everything to be backed up, and you're going to have to park, 14 miles away, et cetera, et cetera. And so that's the kind of messaging I think that we've been getting with Walt Disney World is don't come. And if you do, you're going to have to wear a mask, and you're going to have to social distance and do this and that and that. Now, there are a few of us, many of us, I guess, that are fine with that. But there haven't been as many as they were expecting. I think that Disney thought that there was going to be a lot of pent-up demand, having been closed for so long. Finally, things are back open, and there would be, so much so that they had to build a website to manage the reservations and everything. And just like they had the whole system set up for Galaxy's Edge to manage the crowds, and you have to get the boarding pass just to get into Galaxy's Edge. And by God, that thing got turned off 4 hours after the park opened, or after the land opened. Let me see what we got here for comments. Let's see. Yeah, Walrus says Walt Disney World has been quiet and empty. Are they even making money from being open? I think so. And actually, we're going to get into that a little bit in a video that we're doing that I'm almost done making for Fresh Baked Proper about what is making money. Let's see. Filmmaker says maybe it's because people don't have the money to go, and there's a valid. That's part of the question that I've been having, and it's a question I ask in the other video that we're going to be uploading on Fresh Baked. It seems like a lot of companies, a lot of businesses, a lot of people are making decisions as if everybody's at work making money. It's all good. Everything's fine. Guys, what is it, 20% unemployment? 20? That's unprecedented. When have we seen 20% unemployment? Not since the Depression, right? Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but whatever it is, it's as bad as it's ever been. People, there's a lot of folks out there who don't have the income. Let's see. Stephen Crawford, I am not afraid, and I will go to the park once it's open, so will I. Yeah, when I say Fresh Baked Proper, I mean the main website or the main channel. Okay, so but whatever the reasons are, we are definitely seeing a reduction in the crowds at Disney World. So much so that I think that they're having to recalibrate their plans going forward. Not just their short-term plans, but their long-term plans as well. I suggested a while back that I would be okay if Disney were to just simply stop all new, projects. I'm talking about refurbs, new developments, expansions, that kind of thing. Finish what you started. But if there's a potential for you to stop a project, if you haven't passed some point of no return, then pause that project or cancel it altogether. And they have done that a little bit. And that's actually a topic for another video that we're going to do next week. But I think it's realistic. I think it should be considered expected for there to be a moratorium on new construction, new development, new refurbs. So much so that I think it's very likely that we're going to start seeing major layoffs. Not just frontline employees. I think they're going to try to keep as many of the frontline employees. Well, they should anyway, because they don't cost a lot. They cost less than some of the management, and you need those people there in the park to keep the experience that we expect, the Disney experience. But I have a feeling we're going to see some layoffs very soon in management. Particularly Imagineering, WDI. There's no need, really. There's no need for WDI, because what are they going to Imagineer? There's nothing to Imagineer right now. It's all been done, and there's nothing new coming, or there shouldn't be any. I don't know what it would take for Disney to say, yeah, things are great, we're making money, let's develop some new projects. We're not even anywhere close to that. We're nowhere close to thinking about new Imagineering. Universal already laid off a bunch of staff because they got, and this is their earnings call suggested it, something I'm going to talk about in a video on Fresh Baked. They're not, they lost a ton of dough. Okay, so Sammy Lance says, I'd rather have them cancel projects than have them fire people. Well, Sammy, me too. And except that if you, like I just said, if you cancel projects and then you also put a moratorium on new development, what are those people at WDI going to do? There's no work for them to do. And then that creates more fat that you're able to cut. You cut the projects, then you cut WDI. WDI is going to be set on fire, in my opinion, in short order. And as a matter of fact, I think I saw Abigail Disney. She's back at it. Abigail Disney is talking again. And I think she said the same thing, that we should expect some layoffs. And it makes sense in the sense that they're not working. If they're not going to be working, then they can't just pay them and not. It's an unfortunate side effect, but this isn't a Disney problem. It's an economic problem. It's a problem with our economy in general that is not. I mean, the stock market is still doing well. I don't even know, how does the stock market keep going up? Like, I don't get it. Can somebody explain to me? I'm going to watch these comments. Can somebody explain to me how the stock market is going up? Okay, and then while I wait, I'll look at some more comments. Let's see. Do you think the Splash Mountain retheme will enhance the area around Haunted Mansion, especially at night? I don't know, maybe. Let's try to keep this on topic, though, if we can. Well, okay. Interesting. Chris Walker, need the Imagineers for Splash Mountain? Maybe. I don't know. I have a feeling. Look, Splash Mountain's not set in stone, man. I'm just going to say that right now. Splash Mountain is not set in stone. That may never happen. Okay. Let's see. Now, for Disney's part, I think they are trying to get their employees back to work, evidenced by the fact that they opened the parks and staffed it completely. There are times when I look at these images coming out of the park, and there are more cast members than there are guests in the shot. But I think Disney wants people to get back to work, and they want to preserve as many of those jobs in management as possible. But if they open the gates, if Disney says, come on in to Walt Disney World, and the people don't go, what do you do? What do you do? And for how long can you do it? There is a point where Disney, it just can't sustain itself. So I'm expecting to see something like that, and hopefully it's something that, if they do that along with some other plans, that they can sort of stave off and stave off any sort of doomsday protocols, i.e., selling it off to another company or something like that, or divesting themselves of divisions and separating them, the companies off. Oh, here we go. Somebody answered one of my questions. On the one thing on the stock market is being propped up by an influx of Fed money and has been for over a year. That has so far kept it from complete collapse. Evan, are they propping up specific stocks or industry? Is it like S&P type stuff, or the 500, or that's an interesting, because you don't ever hear that. I mean, the public doesn't. I'm sure insiders do, people who trade stocks regularly or who are familiar with, nationwide finance. But the layperson probably doesn't understand or even realize, what you're talking about. Let's see. Sean Matchett, the market is always about what could be, not what is. That's very important. They're very reactionary about news and about things that are going to happen. And then the market reacts. And then there's probably a correction. VCs, venture capitalists, pay billions to companies, individuals for what they could do. It does have big drops when it reacts to the economic environment, but it comes back. All right. Yeah. Jackson Sider, would you be part of the people that don't go? No, I'll be there. As soon as the park opens, any part of it opens, I'll be there for sure. Okay. So what do? We want to keep the parks open as much as possible. There's the layoffs, which would help, keep the bottom line tight. I'm wondering, guessing if they might revert to a limited schedule. Currently, they're full. They're open as normal, as far as I understand, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. or something like that. What about a 5-day schedule at Magic Kingdom? What about, like they used to do back in the day? Disney was closed. I think it was on Mondays and Tuesdays when the place first opened. Well, that's kind of neat. Neat. I don't know, but that's interesting. But like Wednesday through Sunday, or alternating. Here's something we might see, having like Disney Hollywood Studios open one day and then Epcot open the next day and then Disney Hollywood Studios. And this way you get, because you have people that are there for, 5 days or whatever. They're on vacation when they go to Disney World. Less so at Disneyland. At Disney World, there are more folks on vacation spending multiple days. So you don't want them to have any days where they can't go to a park. So just tell them you can go to Hollywood on a Wednesday, Epcot on Thursday, Magic Kingdom Friday, Saturday, whatever. Hours are 9 to 7 for Magic Kingdom. Wow, that is pretty early. Now, I've also, this was something that somebody suggested, and I think this makes sense for the way the crowds work at Epcot, but closing Epcot at 5 p.m., that's a thing, right? Shannon Marie wants to know, David, is there a scenario where Disney just closes all the parks in Florida since they predominantly rely on tourists and just keep the original California park open? I think there's more demand for Disneyland. No, I think they want all the parks open, but we got to remember that Disneyland and Disney World are not playing by the same set of rules because they're in different states and have different governments running the guidelines. Florida is open. California is not. So whether or not Disney wants to do a thing, they can't do it until the state of California says it's okay to do it. So it's not really up to Disney in that sense. Epcot is 11 to 9. So yeah, how about 11 to 5? And what that does is somebody just says, Sarah says, I like that rotating schedule to accommodate longer vacations, but increasing efficiency with cuts. Right. So this allows you to keep less staff. You would just move the staff from Hollywood over to Epcot, and then they would just rotate between parks, which I think is not abnormal, right? We only have DCA and Disneyland, but here I know that Disneyland cast members can sometimes move between lands, but I don't know if they move between parks. But I'm sure that wouldn't be a problem. A park closing while the sun is still up sounds so weird. Yeah, it does, Sammy. It really does. It really does. Okay. Mike Bram says, with there being 1 million plus pass holders for Disneyland, I can see it being busier than Walt Disney World is, since pass holders don't have to spend money to go to the park. Well, okay, that actually brings up another thing I had in mind, but that's true. There are a lot more pass holders here at Disneyland and a lot more avid, regular use pass holders here who go just to be there. But that's something that they're experiencing also that's hurting the bottom line in Disney World, is that right now it's only the pass holders that are showing up. And what they're finding is that, at least this may just be perception. I don't know if it's reality, but some folks are perceiving this, and that is that the guests that are showing up at Disney World are just in there. They're knocking some rides out. They're trying to see how much they can crush the park, but they're not exactly taking in the park per se. They're not buying a lot of merchandise, and they're not eating a lot of food. Now, I know some folks think that that's a annual pass holder situation, whereas tourists tend to spend all their money. They buy a lot of merchandise, they eat a lot of food. And that's true to an extent, but pass holders spend more days in a park than a tourist does. A tourist is only there for 5 days. I'm there for, 60 or 70 times a year. So I have a much larger, opportunity to spend my money in the parks. But anyway, so that's one of the reasons why we're seeing, less revenue being generated at Walt Disney World is not only are they not showing, and not only are they annual pass holders who have already paid for their annual pass or they're paying just the one fee, but they're not taking in as much of the park as they normally would. If the cast members switched parks, would that mean less cast members? Yes, Naomi, that's exactly what we're suggesting, is that they would have to lay off some of the staff, because if the park's not open, you don't need staff for a closed park, right? So let's say you have, it takes 20 people to run a park, each park, 20 for Epcot and 20 for Hollywood Studios. Well, if you alternate days, then you could let one of those 20s go, because the 20s are going to work this park, then they're going to work that park, then they're going to work this park. So, it's not a one-for-one relationship. They probably wouldn't eliminate all of it, but I would say at least half of one, in that scenario, I would say, because there's going to be off days, et cetera. So you want a little bit extra staff, but it is what it is. It's something that they have to do. They have to react. They can't just act like business as usual. Rick St. Louis, I'll buy so much merch and eat so many churros they can run the park for the rest of the year. It's funny. I was at the post office today and I'm like, I should just buy a whole bunch of stamps. I should just buy more stamps than I need to do my part to save the United States Post Service, because the United States Postal Service needs saving right now. So I see what you mean. I would do the same at Disneyland. I would spend a bunch of dough just to let them know that I'm here for you. Gordon Farmer says, that's last week or on Wednesday's topic, but he says, would selling of the Asian Disney assets hurt Disney Plus? I don't think so. No, I don't think so. Jim Hill said that Magic Kingdom is getting under 5,000 guests a day. Now, I trust Jim Hill on stuff like that. So that jives with the images that we're seeing coming out of the park. If they're 5,000 a day, do you guys know how little that is? Full capacity is 80,000. I don't even know what the math is on that. I want to say like 6%. Let's see. Where's my calculator? That is 6%. They're running at 6% capacity. And that's not by design. That's not by design. Their design was probably for 10 or 15, maybe 20. Julia is one. Oh, hey, Julia. Oh, my gosh. She's one of the oldest muffins ever, and she's still hanging in there with us. I love that. Thanks, Julia, for being here. Julia says, we know a family. Literally, she's been following us for going on 8 years now. A family that just went to Disney World for a vacation. They had planned a year ago. His friend said it was kind of boring and weird with the restrictions. That's to be expected. Weird, I get. Boring. You know what makes it boring, and people don't appreciate this enough, is the other guests. It's the other guests and that shared experience, the community that adds to the energy and to the excitement of being at Disneyland. All that energy is being cycled around all the time, constantly. You're feeling that excitement, and it's you consume it as a human. You consume other people's energies as a human. And when they're not there, you have nothing to feed off of. There's none of that energy for you to get excited about. It doesn't help that you're also wearing a mask, and then you're feeling this added pressure of the restrictions. But I'm telling you, the people not being there creates some of that kind of meh feeling about going to Disneyland. And that's why guests are just showing up, doing their thing, and then leaving. Okay. The United States Postal Service is profitable. Slowdowns are artificial. That's what I thought. Yeah. But they're trying to make it happen. I can't. let's see. 6%. Yeah, somebody backed that up. Yeah, Sammy Lance says, I live for seeing other people have a good time. Me too. That's almost my whole thing. That's all I want to do. That's why I don't even need to go on Rise, because I just want to feed off that energy. Are people too scared to go to the parks because they fear like we might be having here in the UK a second wave? No. Well, maybe. Some folks are just waiting for it to go away. They're waiting for a vaccine or a cure or whatever. They're just waiting for that before they go at all. Let's see. Okay, Julia says again, yeah, my son's friend said he barely had any interaction with anyone on his trip other than his own family. And that's kind of sad. That doesn't make me feel happy at all. I want the full Disney experience, but we have to do our part because people aren't showing up. So that's why I'm going to show up. I'm going to show up to Downtown Disney, and I'm going to Knott's Taste of Calico, and I'm going to taste the Knott's, and I might just be going to Legoland. Because, I feel like I want to do my part to support. I want to keep this industry afloat. I really do. Because it's sad, because it's like I said before in another conversation, theme parks aren't essential, man. They're just not. So we have to do a little bit extra. Ryan Labastida says, can the Disney staff work different lands, or do they know a lot more or need a lot more training? Well, yeah, cross land training is not a big thing. Actually, they actually don't train per land at Disneyland. There's zones. So in some cases, the zone that you work will cross over from one land to another. I don't remember what they are off the top of my head. Somebody will probably say something who's an XCM perhaps. But it's, so the cross land training is not a big deal. Cross park is another thing. I'm not sure if that's something that they do regularly, but like I said, I feel like that wouldn't be a difficult thing to institute to begin to retrain folks, or to, if they had to, that's a great way to tighten the belt a little bit. Simply Tigger says, people don't want to wear a mask all day in the Florida heat and humidity. Plus, we are the epicenter of the virus right now. Well, no, they don't. And that's, again, that's not the reason, but it's a reason. It's a reason why people aren't showing. I think they undid that Rise, Janet. The Rise reservation system has been changed already. I think that it's pretty much open now. I think they were doing that as a precaution, as in preparation for more business or more capacity, but it didn't happen. Yeah, so Mark Bram does confirm. For example, one example is that Splash Mountain, Winnie the Pooh, Haunted Mansion, and Pirates are all in the same in the same training class. So you're not restricted to just your land. You can train for multiple lands at the same point. Rebecca Hansen says, when I worked there, Matterhorn CMs were half Fantasyland and half Tomorrowland. So there you go. Now I would assume if they can do that, they can cross park train. I don't see why not. All right, so let's segue for a minute. Similar conversation, and I know this isn't really theme park related, but it is Disney related, and it is themed entertainment related, and it's something that we brought up in the last live stream, and that is the future of film, going to the movies, or going to the movies, but really just the business of making filmed entertainment in general. I have, since the very beginning, I remember talking about this in a live stream months ago, that I had I could see a future where there were no movie theaters. I think that's one of the first entertainments that is going to die. The longer that this gets stretched out, the more movie theaters are going to die. And the reason why that is not just because people are going to stop going, kind of like, let's say, soup plantation, or buffets. Buffets are going to die. Okay. The concept of the buffet is probably never going to come back, or it'll take years or maybe a decade or more before the concept of a buffet is a thing again. But the reason why movie theaters specifically might be one of the first things to go is because there is an alternative. They can still make their product, but then release it or publish it in ways that aren't in a theater. Food will always be a thing because there's only so many ways that you can get food to us. We can have it delivered or we can go there. That's pretty much it. Theme parks. That's number 2 on that list. I mean, there isn't. Well, no, for that reason, I think, now that I mentioned it, theme parks will probably hold out longer, or they have a longer lifeline because there isn't an alternative. But film, movies, entertainments can be streamed. You can watch them digitally. And that's a growing part of that industry, streaming and video on demand. Let's see. A lot of people are already in there. Drive-ins. I would go to a drive-in right now. I certainly would. Drive-ins, though, they died. Drive-ins died because they consume real estate that does not generate any income when they're not showing movies. Big, massive amounts of real estate. So the only place you can have a drive-in, you can't have any in a suburban area. It has to be out in the hills somewhere. You can't put one in the middle of Orange County because the real estate is just too valuable. And you can't generate enough income showing drive-in movies to pay the rent on that piece of land. So, but I would definitely go, and I think that there is room for that. You just have to drive 30, 40 minutes to get to one if you're not already in, an urban, a rural area. Okay. A lot of people are saying it's not the same thing as being there, and I agree, it's not, but it is an alternative. It is a thing. I would definitely prefer to see a movie in a theater every single time, but it's not viable. But I could still watch a movie though if I want to. I can buy the Blu-ray, or I can download it or whatever. I mean, there are options. Yeah, Sammy Lance says sometimes they do swap meets. Again, that doesn't generate a lot of revenue though. That's like that. It's okay. It's just not. It's not ideal. They would rather put in a mall or a Walmart or a parking lot or something like that. So that is why, I don't know if you guys have heard, there is an agreement just made a couple days ago between Universal and AMC. Universal being a studio that makes films, AMC being a movie theater chain that shows these films. And it used to be that a movie company would release a film and it would be in theaters, and you couldn't you couldn't download it digitally, you couldn't rent it for 3 months. It took 3 months to go from in the theaters to digital. And this new agreement shortened that 3 months to 3 weeks. Big difference. What, 3 months is 36 weeks, 3 weeks. That's like, they just cut it by 90% the time. And that is because the reason why they did that is because they recognize that that's where the money is right now. And they recognize that there could be a life expectancy reduction for films being in theatrical release. People, I don't know if you follow box office. I follow box office regularly when we're actually seeing movies. I love to follow the box office. and almost all the money is made in the first 2 or 3 weeks. And then some films have legs, and they kind of generally make 5 or 10 million a week after that. But all the money is made in the first 3 weeks. So why not? If this is assuming that films even go into theaters, but why not cut that deal down to 3 weeks instead of 3 months? I don't know why they did this, why they were waiting for this to begin with. Okay, let me check the comments here. Janet Gardner loves Studio Movie Grill, half theater, half restaurant. Kind of like what they have at Hollywood Studios. Is that what you're talking about? I've never been to that place, so I don't know. And by the way, the movie theaters or the drive-ins the movie theaters that are open right now aren't showing new releases. They're only showing old films. I hate that idea. I don't want to go to a movie theater that bad. And this is why movie theaters are dying, because people aren't that desperate. They're not that desperate to go to the movie theaters. I would prefer to go myself, but they're not that desperate when they can see the film, on digital download. Now, what is that? Obviously, they're going to make less money. They're going to make less money on video on demand and, streaming or digital purchases. They're going to make less money on that, which means we might, and this is something I predicted a while back, we might have seen the end of the big budget movie, the tentpoles. What you're going to see are low to mid budget movies, comedies, and horror films. That's what you're going to see. You're going to see a lot more comedy if they start making movies again. A lot more comedies, a lot more horror films, because these are low budget, easy to produce things that people enjoy. And you're not going to see Marvel or Star Wars. Or if they do make Star Wars, it'll be a low budget Star Wars. Can you imagine? Yeah, Marty Snyder says it was Universal that gave in to AMC. Yeah, they did, exactly. AMC said that they wouldn't show Universal films at all because Universal was going to same-day theater online release. Right. Universal saw the white writing on the wall, and they wanted things to be, that was the Trolls World Tour. They wanted both to happening at the same time. And I get AMC's position because they need some exclusivity. Why go to the movie theater when they're going to show it on demand? And I totally get it. So, I mean, yeah, Universal gave in and gave them those 3 weeks. But what Universal is saying and what they're doing is they're saying the future isn't in theaters. The future is in digital. And that's how it is. And especially now in this environment where people aren't going outside. They're not allowed to go outside. They're not allowed to sit next to people in a crowded theater and eat popcorn and talk too loudly or bring a baby and cry in the middle of that awesome scene in Endgame. Man, it sucks. It really sucks. I know I'm depressing you. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay, Dan Coulter says the movie grill at Walt Disney World has guests sit in a car. Yeah, okay, that's what I thought she was talking about. Christopher Marino says, I completely disagree. The Marvel movies make too much money. Where are they making this money now, Christopher? In what movie theater are you allowed to go see a Marvel movie? This is okay. So some films are saying, you know what, screw it. We're just going to release it. We're gonna go digital download. They're kind of easing into that, but you can't do that with a movie like Mulan. You can't just put Mulan on Disney Plus because they're not going to make any money. They're not going to make their money. That movie cost $300 million. Okay, so how they got to put it in a theater in order for it to make money. But if the theaters can't open, sorry. Sorry. Well, that's okay. So Cody Porter says, agree to disagree, David. Hollywood will always overspend. I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that. It's going to take them a while to learn this lesson. They're still greenlighting. I don't understand what's going on with Hollywood. They're greenlighting projects left and right. Really? What? Why? How? Under what circumstances are they going to? Okay, first of all, can we even make these movies? With masks and social distancing required? That's one. What states are even making this allowable? Where are they filming these? Because I know Canada is pretty strict. Because Canada was Hollywood North. Okay, a lot of films were made in Canada. Canada is like locked down. Canada's locked down, so you're not making films in Canada. I guess you can go to Georgia. I don't know what Georgia's rules are right now. Anybody know is Georgia open or closed? What degree is Georgia open? Yeah, so people are saying, yeah, there's Jurassic, there's another Jurassic Park, another Matrix movie. There's Star Wars films are being talking about. Well, they're still sitting on Black Widow. There's so much stuff, you guys, and they can't put them digital. They can't. Those movies were too big to release them on just. This is why we haven't seen Black Widow on Disney Plus, because they need a theatrical release, and Disney can't put these movies on demand, because why would you pay for it? Why would you pay $20 for a digital download of Black Widow or Mulan if you already are paying for Disney Plus? They can't. They have to wait. They have to wait. Let's see. Chris Strader says they think everyone will just wake up when this is over and flock to the theaters. Like I said, I'm in no hurry to go to a movie theater. I'm really not. I mean, I want to go, but I'm not in a hurry. It's not top of my list. The big budget films that have been made are being pushed back to spring and summer of 2021. Yeah. Okay, so Susan Lugren says Hollywood North, which I assume you mean Canada, is now open and films are underway. Are they? I wonder. They're gonna put these things in the can and then never release them. They're just gonna sit on them until we get theaters. I don't know, man. I don't know. It could be a while. It could be a while before we see a movie theater again, or like normal. Okay, but let's just say they do open the theaters for new films. Same problem that you're having at Disney World. We're open, but nobody's showing up. Especially when you can't fill a theater. Blockbusters, every seat is full. Every seat is full when you go see a Marvel movie in the first 3 weeks. Every seat. The theaters are going to now have to, I don't even know what, 20% of a full theater? Oh my God. I can't even imagine. And that's just for 3 weeks. Can they make enough money? Cody Porter, I do agree with you somewhat, but I think Hollywood will never learn its lesson on spending. Probably not. They are the worst. They're worse than the government when it comes to overspending. Hollywood is. They really are. I when I hear about some of the budgets and what things cost, Hollywood will build a thing, shoot on it for a couple days, and then tear it down. It just blows my mind. Wow. Hang on, I gotta see if I have more. Oh, okay. Let's see. The last movie I saw in theaters was Onward. Do you guys know? Just that's all you have to look at is Onward. Somebody give me the gross for Onward. I want to say it was like 50, 60 million. Okay, that movie, I don't know how much it costs, but they haven't made a Pixar film for less than 200 million, and I don't know how long. It's been a probably 20 years. 15, 20 years, I don't know, since they've made I think Cars 2. When was Cars 2? That one was made on a budget, I think. On a decent budget, I mean. Or maybe not, I don't know. But Onward cost a couple $100 million, and I think it grossed worldwide like 70 million. So that's what you're looking at. That's if they opened. That's with an open theater. That was a wide release, open theaters. People weren't going. I don't think every second seat will work. It's even less than that, Jennifer. I think it's every third seat. Oh my God. Oh my! I didn't even think about that. Let me go back. Who said that? Where's that comment? I can't see. Somebody said it's very weird. Oh, there it is. Keith Bob. Very weird and eerie that there are 0 trailers on TV right now. I haven't even registered that. That is weird. That is weird. The Regal app says theaters are opening August 21st. Well, they've had an opening date for as long as we've been under lockdown, and they keep pushing it back. I don't believe in that August 21st. Let's just imagine that it opens on August 21st. Are people going to show up? Even if it does open on the 21st, are people going to show up? I don't think so. Actors are going to have to take it. Everybody's going to have to take a pay cut, you guys. Everybody. Yeah, the James Bond movie is in the can. James Bond is done. They're waiting. Let's see. Somebody says, who was that? Wait. JR says, Hollywood is not worse than the government. What a ridiculous thing to say. Says you. Okay, says you. Have you seen these budgets and how much they spend on nonsense? They spend on nonsense, you guys. I'm trying to catch up on comments. Malls can be open, but theme parks can't. Malls are not open, Luke. Not in California. Malls are not open. They expressly prohibited the opening of malls. And I would not go into a mall right now in general because, well, I mean, I guess I go to Walmart and Target, which is like a mall. But those are, essential places to be. We kind of have to. But you don't have to go to a mall because that's all like, it's not, those aren't vital things that you're buying in a mall. New Star Wars trilogy is pushed forward to 2025. There's a new Star Wars trilogy? That's news to me. Jackson Cider, 108 million. Oh, that's for Onward. Okay, but that's worldwide. I think it was the domestic that was probably in the 50 or 60 range, I think, 50, 60 million. But they say that you have to double the budget to break even. Because I don't think that budget includes marketing. And they spend a whole bunch of money on marketing typically and other things, other after production costs. So if the budget's 200, then the movie needs to make 300 or 400 million probably just to break even. Can you imagine what an industry the film industry is, that a film can make $250 million and lose? That's what I'm talking about, JR. That's what I'm talking about. You can sell a thing for $250 million and lose money. Wow. Luis Robles says, the problem with VOD currently is that this pandemic has also hit people's pocketbook. Well, of course, yeah, definitely. Video on demand can be profitable when the economy isn't in the trash. Well, but the same, it's even worse than for going to the theaters because it costs $50 to go to the theaters now. I mean, that's a legitimate expense. The ticket in my theater where I go was, I think it was approaching $20. A minimum 15. It was at least that. I haven't bought a movie ticket in a while, so I can't remember, but it was $15, $20. $9 for popcorn, $5 for a soda. You're in it. And that's just for one person. So you share the drink and the popcorn and you buy 2 tickets. That's $60 for you and your girlfriend or your wife. $60. And if you got kids, it's $100 trip for a movie. Video on demand. Even if you go the premium video on demand, which is $20, you got that and you got your homemade popcorn. So you're in it for the whole family for one price. So you can argue that VOD is hard on your pocketbook, but it's definitely not anywhere near as hard on your pocketbook as going to the movie theater is. Did somebody give me a price on Onward? Jackson Cider, I pay $5, $7. Mike Bram says if you go before 5. I'm just talking about the theater that I go to. I can't go before 5, and I can't go during the week. So that's what I pay. I have to pay the peak prices because I work, and then I can only go on the weekends or evenings. Don't get theater food, but that's part of the experience. I love to, I did a video. I did a video on how to save money when you go to Disneyland, and one of the things was don't buy food. Don't buy food. Don't buy the treats. Like, wow, that's what you might as well not go to Disneyland if you're not going to partake in the experience. Well, it's the same thing for me. Going to the movies includes getting popcorn. It's very difficult for me to go to a movie theater and not get popcorn. Yeah, Charlotte says most LA theaters are $15 for the cheap tickets. Yeah. Onward grossed $61 million in the US and Canada and $47 million worldwide for 108. That's terrible. That is terrible. Pixar films typically $400 or $500 million. So they took a bath on Onward, and they don't want to do that again with Black Widow and Mulan. They don't want to just sacrificially lose that film. They need a theatrical release, and they needed to do at least okay, just to break even, Okay. Yeah, CJ says, I personally don't believe August 24th either. I'm just saying that's what the app says. Yeah, I figured that. I mean, I don't think none of us believe, Cody, none of us believe anything that anybody's saying, to be honest. All these promises of things that are going to be happening. How many times has Tenet's date been pushed back? And now in Mulan, too. Now Disney has just given up on saying when Mulan's going to release. They're just going to say, well, I don't know, sometime in the future. We'll see. And the posters now, if you look at the posters, that doesn't say premiering this date. It says premiering in theaters, ... eventually. So, yeah. A lot of people, again, are saying drive-ins. And like I said, they chew up a lot of valuable real estate, but also you have to build them. That takes a minute. I think Walmart was talking about doing that, building some drive-ins in some of their bigger parking lots. Yeah, I'd probably go to that. We don't have any here in Southern California. I have to drive an hour and a half to Rubidoux here in Southern California to go to a drive-in, and that's out in the middle of the desert. I don't know where. I don't even know where Rubidoux is, you guys. I can't describe it. It's in the middle of nowhere. Okay. Keith Bob, still hard to believe theme park opening is on hold in California since Iger is on Newsom's Open California committee. Well, he's just one vote, though. He's not the whole committee, right? And here's the thing. Well, I mean, if it were a bunch of businessmen on the Open California committee, we would be open. But that committee also, I'm sure, contains scientists and doctors and things like that. So people that have, they're giving Newsom enough information to scare him. California is not doing well. We were doing great because we shut down early, but it was a total lockdown, right? You felt bad just for going outside. You felt guilty for getting in your car and driving around. Not even getting out of your car, just getting around and getting in your car and driving around. But we hit the go button a little too fast, I think. A little too fast. They got overconfident. Irvine doesn't have a drive-through or drive-in, does it? Where does Irvine have a drive-in? So I need a amazing Jason. I need some more information on that. Saw Naomi for what movie? She says, I saw a movie trailer on TV today that said open in select theaters. What movie? I have not been to Van Buren, but it's probably Rubidoux is in the. Yeah, it's okay, but it feels like the desert. You look at where I'm from, everything is a desert. Yeah, Rubidoux is in Riverside. It's like I don't know if it's part of Riverside proper. Is it Riverside County? But the 2 times I went there, I felt I got a deserty vibe. I don't know. It was a long time ago. Maybe I'm probably wrong. Let's see. I'm not going to Victorville for a drive-in, that's for sure. Where is there a drive-in 20 to 30 minutes away from Orange County? Ooh, drive-in at San Diego. That might be worth a drive. At the Spectrum? Nathan, are you sure? A drive-in at the Spectrum? I got to look into that because I've searched for drive-ins, and the closest one was Rubidoux, or the one in the other one in Riverside. There's no drive-in theater at the Santa Ana River. What are we talking about? I live by the Santa Ana River. There's no drive-in here. Mission T. Okay, Irvine. Okay, guys, you're killing me. You're killing me. The Point, Irvine Spectrum. They're in Great Park. They're not showing new releases. What is that? Like really? Huh. Brand new. Nathan, do you have my email? David@freshbakedizzy.com. Send me a link if I can't find it myself, just in case. I'm terrible at that kind of thing. Let's see. Special drive-in events at Orange County Great Park. Okay, Lost Hero says there used to be, it may be gone now, the one at Santa Ana River, because there was one over there. Yeah, the Santa Ana River. I think I know what you're talking about now. By Anaheim Stadium, but they closed that decades ago. It was a drive-in theater for a while. I mean, sorry, it was a swap meet for a little while, I think. But it's an apartment building now. There's an apartment building, quite a nice one. But the drive-in and by the Anaheim Stadium has been closed for a long time. $50 per car, my goodness. Sorry, I'm catching up on comments. Why doesn't Disney put up a big screen in the Mickey and Friends parking lot, top deck, and show their movies there? Yeah, it requires a little bit more. I suppose you could just, well, you don't even need, you don't need the physical speakers anymore. You could just turn it into a radio station. I don't know. I suppose they could. I don't know if they would, but they could. Maggie says, just watch something from your own home. Seems more comfortable. Yeah, obviously, but people want an experience. We're trying to have an experience that is more communal, and that's a large part of the reason why we go to theme parks and why we go to the movie theater, is to have that shared experience. There is nothing like seeing a movie with other people and everybody getting excited and scared and laughing all at the same time. That's part of the human qualities that we have. That's why we go to Disneyland, and why Disneyland's better with people in it than without them. So, I mean, logically, yeah, and people could do that, but we're not, because we want something extra. We want something more. We want something better. And on that note, we have reached our hour. I hope you guys had fun today. I think our topic for Monday, when we return, is going to be a discussion on construction going on around Disney parks around the world, and the future of construction projects, I think. And that's where I'm at right now. But that may change if something newsworthy comes up. As for dinner tonight, whoever asked, we're having sushi. All right, so guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget, obviously, to look out for some new stuff coming up on Fresh Baked. There's a link on the main channel page, and look for more stuff coming up on the Royal Dorks, which is our personal vlog for me and Liz and little baby Sophia. I'm still trying to finish our videos from Palm Springs. So stay tuned for that, and we'll see you next time, guys. Fresh Baked.